What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blitz Fantasy Football. My name is Blitz Link. I'm here with my boy David. David runs the Bills account for us here on Blitz. So if you love Bills content, go check that out on Twitter and on our website, Blitz Sports Media. If you guys are looking for your first mock draft video of August, we are here. We're going to disagree with each other. We're going to have some hot takes, and we're going to provide you with the best advice possible so you can go out there and crush your fantasy football draft this year. So without further ado, no funny business. David is going to be there with the 101 slot. And who is your favorite pick at 101 this year?
As much as I'm a Devon Achane believer, I'm gonna go with Jahmyr Gibbs at pick 101.
That would have been absolutely insane.
I can't start off that insane.
Well, Amon-Ra St. Brown goes, who is typically my 106 guy, but that leaves Mr. Jackson Smith-Njigba, the reigning offensive player of the year, still available for me here. And I really absolutely think people are kind of just like fading JSN because the situation is a little less sexy than it was last year. But to be fair, last year everybody was like, well, he's a third-round pick, I'm fading him. And I was sitting there saying, no, he's in a perfect situation where there's not a lot of target competition. He's got that new quarterback under a big extension. Now we can call him Super Bowl winning quarterback Sam Darnold. And JSN himself is still in a great situation to succeed there. So I lock him in that sixth slot. Me and David talked about this before the video. It kind of gets a little dicey after pick 5 in a lot of these drafts and after St. Brown goes. Who is your favorite pick between 107 to 112?
I like having pick 12 just so I can do what Team 11 did. Is if I can grab Achane and Hampton on the back-to-back, I do that. But typically I'll just go straight wide receivers over again. I think the best overall value you can get, I've seen Justin Jefferson even go as late as the early second. So I think if you can pair two elite receivers, that's a great way to go.
Yeah, me and you. So that's like kind of where we vary too. Is like you're always been more of a wide receiver heavy approach, and I'm more of a robust RB type of style. It kind of depends on where I am in the first, but it's either get that locked in wide receiver one, which I did in this draft, and then with my second pick, I went Kenneth Walker, his former teammate for the Kansas City Chiefs, and David will kind of talk about him in a second here, but with me, Walker, he's in a great situation to succeed in Kansas City. He never played consistently over 60% of snaps in his time in Seattle. He walks into a backfield where he will likely play 70% plus in Kansas City. He faced the heaviest boxes in the NFL, now faces the lightest boxes in football, had the best missed tackle rate, and the second most yards after contact per attempt last season. So on a per touch basis, Walker's been really good. He gets a little bit more volume, going to be heavily involved in the receiving game for Kansas City. So I look at it, I have him all the way slotted as my 13th overall player in PPR formats. I get him in the middle of the second. I'm excited about that, but you're sitting there with a little bit of hesitation and you got 2 picks coming up. What are your thoughts?
I love where the receivers are at. There's a couple of running backs I like here as well, but I think, again, the wide receiver value is just too good to pass up here. You got Rashee Rice, George Pickens, and Malik Neighbors. I get my choice of the 3. And when Rashee Rice is on the field, he's a wide receiver 1. I don't care what anyone says. He might get injured. He might this. He might that. What receiver doesn't have legal trouble or might miss games?
Whoa.
Honestly, every top guy other than like JSN and St. Brown, there's always some controversy. Even Puka, pick 3 in this draft, has controversy.
Puka's biting his way to the 3rd overall pick in this draft.
I mean, there's just so many receivers have something that goes with them, and I think people just fade Rashee Rice when you could say the same about almost any player in this ADP range. So I'm gonna go with Rashee Rice. And between Pickens and Neighbors, I trust Malik Neighbors a lot more after that rookie season. And it's more so I just don't see a scenario where George Pickens can continue what he did last year for another full season with a healthy CeeDee Lamb all 17 games. So I'm going to go with Malik Neighbors.
I'm actually in you with the argument. I would have taken Chris Olave and Nico Collins over Neighbors, but I agree with you in the conversation of Neighbors over Pickens. Pickens is a guy I'm kind of fading it. He was actually wide receiver 9 right now in ADP between all platforms, which I think is absurd. We're basically You talk about pricing guys at their ceiling. George Pickens is priced at his ceiling if CD Lamb plays a full 17 game season, which is something we've seen him do a majority of his career. So I agree with you there. I'm honestly taking Neighbors over Pickens at the slot. With me, I got your boy sitting right in my lap right now, but um, I never go quarterback early. I really don't.
I mean, they, for the content, what does
No,
it
you know
look
what?
like when
I'm getting
Ryan
my guy.
finally
I'm
goes
getting my guy.
quarterback? Oh man,
I'm getting my guy. I'm not. I'm
almost
not.
talked you into it.
Yeah, I'm not getting any funny business right now. I can wait for a quarterback. It's just so deep. I think Josh Allen, if you're going to go for him, that third round makes the most sense. But for me personally, I know that I can, find Josh Allen late, or not a Josh Allen late. I mean, another quarterback late and be just fine. I can't find another player like Lad McConkey who's in a great situation with Mike McDaniel to succeed this year. I mean, the guy's coming in to an offense that runs motion 75% of snaps. McConkey himself was close to 75% better in almost every single metric that you want to see: yards per route run, points per target, first downs per target. And he's going to be much better because of the utilization in this offense. So, Lad McConkey, one of my favorite breakouts. And then while you're picking here, Bashul Tutin, a guy that I'm so high on this year. His stock is only rising right now after training camp with Liam Cohen saying, we're expecting really big things right now to Bashul Tutin, and I can't be more excited. A player that averaged 12.8 points per game when he saw 10 plus touches last year, top 10 in missed tackle rate, and Liam Cohen's been an absolute gold mine for running back production. So Tutin, I actually have him higher than Scadaboo, Judkins, ETN and Henderson, Brees Hall, Bucky Irving. I know you're high on Bucky and Josh Jacobs. Or no, I have Josh Jacobs higher, but I have him right, below than Jacobs and Javonte Williams and after Kyron Williams. So I'm pretty high on Bashul.
Yeah, I've got Bucky up near where I have like Kyron and Chase Brown in them. So I know we have very differing opinions on Bucky Irvin. With that being said, I have a big grin on my face because, like Malik Neighbors, this is a wide receiver where I am just praying I can get in the fourth round, and that's like Buka.
Yeah.
He is the clear wide receiver one of that team. Mike Evans has gone to San Francisco. Chris Godwin, when he came back, he did not look good in those few games last year. So I'm fully expecting Igbuka to be a phenomenal wide receiver. He might even be a top 5 wide receiver in scoring because Baker's needs a contract. Baker's on a contract year. He's going to air it out, Jameis Winston style in Tampa Bay.
I would not be surprised either. Agabuka is one of my favorite picks, and you getting him there at the 412 is a crazy pick because I don't think he goes past like 402, 403 in my eyes in a lot of home leagues. I think Zay Flowers, another guy that just got extended, like he's going to be going a lot earlier as well. Jameson Williams at 411 over Agabuka has me scratching my head. That is a crazy pick from the CPU there.
I'm really debating on if I want to gamble here.
Be a gambling man. Let's go. Stick to your guns.
I'll be a gambling man. Screw it. I'm gonna go Carnell Tate. Every single year, one or two wide receivers. I've said this before. I'll say it again. Every year, some rookie wide receivers, always outperform their ADP. Personally, I think it's Carnell Tate. He's got Brian Dable on the offensive side of the ball calling plays. We've seen what he did with Malik Neighbors. Cam Ward looked like a guy at the end of last season. I think Tate could have like a Malik Neighbors type of rookie year. And on top of that, I'm not going to say who else I think is going to break out unless I get them later on because I don't want you to snipe me.
I may have to snipe you here on this turn. I wound up going with Tyler Warren in the 5th, who is the best value in that round, in my opinion. The guy is basically being catered into a tight end 1 overall fit. The guy was tight end 4 with 4 touchdowns last year. That's crazy. Now you have Michael Pittman, who lost 111 vacated targets to this offense. Alec Pierce is injured right now. Tyler Warren is the best pick at the tight end position with his current ADP. And then on that turn, I continue to add to my running back room. Jadarian Price, welcome to the squad. I'm not super high on Price long-term as a prospect, but with the situation in Seattle, they have the 4th easiest schedule. They'll have one of the best defenses in football. Zach Charbonnet, there's been strong reports that he'll be out till Thanksgiving most likely. And when he does return, he's not going to be the same Zach Charbonnet coming off of a late ACL tear last year. So with that, they invested a 1st round pick in this guy. The 6th round is exactly where I want to take him because the upside is immense with a first-round talent in Seattle's eyes, getting into a good team with an easy schedule. That's exactly what I want out of my RB3 on my fantasy squad. So love those two picks right there. Who you going with now? You got 4 wide receivers. You got Jahmyr Gibbs. You got the hero RB strategy in full effect for you right now. Where we leaning?
I might not even draft a second running back. I got Gibbs. He can just play both. In all seriousness, I was hoping Swift falls. He's one of the best value running backs you can get in the 6th round, in my opinion. Now I'm looking at the running backs. This kind of goes with the risk of taking a guy like Carnell Tate instead of like another running back in the 5th round. But of the running backs available, there's only one I see that has real potential as an RB1, and that's J.K. Dobbins. I love when he's healthy, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about Rashee Rice. When Dobbins is healthy, you can expect 15 points out of him. I know I do. Anytime I start him, I'm expecting him to get 15 points. He's always dominant when he's healthy. It's just health is the biggest concern with that pick. That's why he's going as late as he does. With that being said, I got to grab another running back just in case Dobbins gets healthy. And there's 2 guys I'm looking at, but I think Rico Dowdle is in a much better situation in Pittsburgh between the 2 that I'm thinking of. He spent time with Mike McCarthy in Dallas, and I think there's a reason Pittsburgh targeted him when Najee Harris left off last offseason. What am I talking about? Kenny Gainwell left them this season. So I think they're going to fill that role in with Rico Dowdle.
I like those picks right there. I think the interesting part about it, J.K. Dobbins himself said, I want to play 17 games this year. He's frustrated that he hasn't been able to stay on the field. You kind of feel for the guy. Like I was saying this, I think in the podcast yesterday.
I want to be a starting quarterback in the league.
Yeah, like some of these guys, they don't really control their injury luck, and Dobbins may have some of the worst injury luck in football. Clearly, it's a red flag with picking him, but the guy has an 8th round value. A lot of these drafts was the RB23 when healthy last year. So I am not one of those guys that is just absolutely fading J.K. Dobbins because he's going to get injured. He's at a good point where I can select him and feel pretty confident that he'll be very productive for me. As far as where we're going to go with my next pick, I go Parker Washington, and then I'm stacking him with Jonathan Brooks. Kind of continues the theme of I need a strong running back room, and I'm chasing upside at the position. Jonathan Brooks has as much upside as any running back you can get after round 6. Brooks is already splitting first-team snaps with Chuba Hubbard right now in Carolina, and the reports are suggesting that he's a real chance of winning that lead role in the preseason and heading into week 1. That is great news. I would still be picking him even if he was playing less snaps right now in training camp or in the preseason, but Brooks is a guy we haven't really seen. They spent a 2nd-round pick on him 2 years ago. If he is healthy, he is going to play a lot this year. I love that pick. And then Parker Washington, I'll glaze him every single time I do these videos. The guy's going to be an absolute monster. Just take him before his ADP because one of your league mates knows that Parker Washington is the guy in Jacksonville. Just don't be the guy that gets sniped because of it.
Be the guy that gets sniped. Parker's not that guy.
Oh, geez.
I'm not a Parker guy. Just like last year, I'm not a Harvey guy. I'm not a Parker guy.
You're not a Parker guy, the guy that averaged 22 points per game when he won the slot role last year over the last 4 games?
Over the last 4 games, yes.
Yeah, when he was announced as the starter in the slot.
They have too much invested in 3 other wide receivers than Parker Washington. Brian Thomas,
really
they spent
hope you're not including Travis Hunter in that group because he's not a wide receiver.
He's been bulking up. I'm just saying. And
he's not a wide receiver anymore.
He was playing wide receiver in training camp.
He's taken a majority of, I think it's 70% split right now, defense compared to offense.
That 30% could outscore Parker Washington.
That's a horrible take.
Hey.
If you are putting money that Travis
I'm not putting money on
snaps, Travis Hunter's 30% of snaps are going to outscore Parker Washington this year. What are we doing, David?
Okay, I'm not putting money on that, but I wouldn't be surprised either.
That is insane. That is diabolical behavior from you. Get on the clock and go draft some guy that's going to.
They spent a 1st-round pick on Brian Thomas Jr. I expect him to have a bounce-back year. They traded for Jacoby Myers, and they gave him a contract. So they're going to play Jacoby Myers. They gave up a haul, not just a couple picks, an absolute haul to move up to draft Travis Hunter. They're going to play him on both sides of the ball. And he still wants to play on both sides of the ball. Granted, it might be 70-30 split. It could be a 60-40. It could be 50-50. I don't know. Maybe not.
Here's my question for you, though.
Yeah.
If you were a coach, would you play your best receiver more than the other receivers?
Yeah.
So why would you not play Parker Washington over?
Well, that's why I would play Travis Hunter. If you put them side by side and in practice, I guarantee Travis Hunter looks better than Parker Washington in practice.
Oh my God! Now we're being insane. Now
that's not a hot take.
It's not. You know what?
If Travis Hunter only played wide receiver, he'd be the clear-cut wide receiver 3. That's not even debatable.
I think if Travis Hunter played wide receiver, he would be better than Brian Thomas Jr. potentially or Jacoby Myers. I think Parker Washington is because Parker Washington wasn't a first-round pick or something like that. He doesn't have the pedigree. He's just too gritty. Like he'll never be great. Like that's BS because Parker.
Well, yeah, we got Puka in the league. I know that's not the case, but I'm saying he's got and he needs to do a lot more than 4 games to have a start like a wide receiver 1 type of role in that offense. They just have too much in draft capital spent on the other 3 guys.
So look, I want you after this video because we gotta get your picks in here to look at Parker Washington's stats when he played over 60% of snaps last year.
I know he had a great 4-game stretch.
60% of snaps. That's not a 4-game stretch.
Oh God.
All right, go pick your guys. You know what?
I might just make a spike pick and just take Hunter here.
Pick Jacoby Myers here.
I might just take Travis Hunter here. Looking for back to the mock draft. I'm looking for the top tier bench guys because I still think you could fade quarterback. I know he's on the physically unable to perform list, but I think Alec Pierce is a no-brainer here. He's the clear-cut wide receiver 1 in that offense. Granted, the second half of that year was not that great from the Colts as a team. Alec Pierce and Jonathan Taylor still were performing, even Tyler Warren. I think the defense was more so the issue than the offense at the back half of last year. So I get my bench wide receiver, and now I get a guy that I was considering over Rico Dowdle, and that's Kenny Gainwell. I think both are in situations where they can both perform any given week in the flex. And if, God forbid, an injury goes down to Jalen Warren or Bucky Irving, you got an RB1.
Gainwell is a great value right now. I know the reports right now are saying like Bucky is playing some pass catching and, Kenneth Gainwell is not playing at all at running back. I have a hard time believing that because they were saying the same thing about Bijan Robinson playing in the slot last year and Zach Robinson's offense. And I really don't know how many times we saw that out of Bijan Robinson this year. So I would kind of just slow our rolls with Kenneth Gainwell freaking out. And I honestly think it will push his value down a little bit, which is great because I think it makes him a little bit more of a value. I go Wan'Dale Robinson there. He's one of the best guys to select. And I'll actually go Alec Pierce's teammate here with Josh Downs. I'm going, that the same division right there, the AFC South. You go Wan'Dale Robinson, who is kind of a little bit underrated. He took that step forward last year, and I think in this Tennessee offense, there's going to be enough volume to go around with Brian Dable as the coach where Wan'Dale can be a top 36 receiver. And then Josh Downs, the guy that averaged 13.3 points per game. We talked about Pierce being on the PUP list. The big thing for Downs was, does he play in 2 wide receiver sets? He has to be consistent in Shane Steichen's offense. It looks like he for sure is trending that way right now. A guy that was, steady flex option 2 years ago, 20th graded PFF receiver last year. Like he could be in for a really strong year. So I get 2 of my favorite guys there in the 9th and 10th round.
Yeah, I love Robinson's value as well. He's just going to be a PPR machine in that offense. Coming down to my pick in the 10th, Kelsey and Kittle are gone. I like targeting those guys late just because their ADP does not do them justice. But Isaiah Likely is an absolute no-brainer for me. I think he should have started last year over Mark Andrews. I think over the last couple of years, Andrews has just slowly regressed. And when Likely plays, he just looks like a athletic freak in that Baltimore offense. he knows the system. Same coach as last year with Harbaugh, and with Jackson Dart at the helm, I think Dart neighbors likely they're gonna have something special going on in New York this year. And with my what was this 11th round pick?
Yep.
CPU's taking a lot more quarterbacks than what's going to happen.
Yes, 100%. The CPU does take quarterbacks a lot quicker than it is going to go in your home leagues.
Yeah, people are not going to draft 2 quarterbacks in the top 10 rounds. That's not going to happen. But even with that happening, we still get Jared Goff, who the last 4 years has been a top 10 quarterback.
Yeah.
So even if the worst case scenario happens, you walk away with a guy like Jared Goff, who's going to be top 10 and outperform his ADP.
Jared Goff is the easiest guy to outperform his ADP in the entire draft. The guy does it year in and year out, 4,400 yards and 29 plus touchdowns in 4 straight seasons. That's consistency if I've ever seen it. So great pick there with Goff. I went Murray, a guy that I'm targeting everywhere towards the end of drafts right now. I'm going to snag another tight end here. I got to scroll down. I just saw his name.
I considered Murray too.
Yeah.
Because when he's healthy, he's great.
Yeah, he's never finished lower than quarterback 14 in points per game when he's played 5 or more games. So you know what you're getting, and he's in a good situation. But the reports today said Chig is basically the wide receiver 2 in Washington. I couldn't be happier to hear that news after I've been on the Chig train the entire offseason. The guy was top 10 in yards after the catch in a limited role in Tennessee. Now he goes to Washington where his role can be bigger. Sign me up for the Chig hype. I am drafting him a lot late in drafts.
Oh, he did get taken. I figured he would be gone right now. But when I was talking about Carnell Tate being one of the guys that I thought would be one of the rookies to completely outperform their ADP, Casey Concepcion, this in the 10th, 11th, 12th rounds, you can get him. I think that's another guy that will easily outperform that ADP. Looking at what's on the board, still want to spite you and take Travis Hunter just because. But
take him.
I'm not going to do that.
Oh, right.
Instead, I will take Deebo Samuel here.
Did you see him running routes the other day?
Hey, it looked like me after a McDonald's trip, but he'll still put up some points.
Him and Mike Evans were looking like the dog digging in the sand meme on Twitter, man. They were running some routes, that's for sure.
And last but not least, to take my backup tight end role, Jake Tonjes. When he performed last year, when George Kittle was out, he was dominant as well. Kind of like Isaiah Likely. Anytime Andrews was out, he performed. Knock on wood, hope Kittle stays healthy, but I love Tonjes.
Interesting. I'm surprised you went him over Greg Dulcich. Are you not buying the Dulcich hype?
Not in the slightest.
Wow, interesting. So, gotta ask you, David, you look at your team right now. What are your thoughts? How would you grade it?
I'd give it a non-bias aside, probably a B+. I was really hoping I could get Swift at a 6-12 and get Swift and Dobbins. And then I'd prefer Bo Nix late in drafts more than Jared Goff. For the same reason I drafted Jared Goff, just because he outperforms his ADP. Other than that, I like what I did.
Yeah, that receiver room is going to be absolutely disgusting. If you get a full season of J.K. Dobbins, I don't see a reason why this team can't have a great fantasy season. With me, I absolutely kind of love my running back depth with Walker, Tootin, Price, Brooks, Mitchell. I didn't really talk much about Keaton Mitchell there, but clearly Mike McDaniel wants to get this guy involved. We only hear Keaton Mitchell quotes a lot in training camp right now, which is a great sign that he will have a decent role in this offense. And then in my wide receiver room, I got this year's JSN and Lad McConkey and JSN. Pair that with Tyler Warren. And then the truth, Parker Washington, the GOAT of Jacksonville, the best receiver on the team. We have him, and we're chilling. He's going to be an absolute league winner this year. Drop a comment down below. Whose draft would you prefer, mine or David's? Hit that subscribe button for daily fantasy football content. And me and David will catch you all next time.